Jake Gyllenhaal plays a Hulk in a Looney Tunes world in Roadhouse, and that's the main reason to watch this remake of the 1989 Patrick Swayze vehicle. Gyllenhaal makes the most of his role, and director Doug Liman maximizes his star's skill to highlight the darkness lurking within UFC fighter turned bouncer Elwood Dalton. The original Roadhouse had a simple premise. A brawler with a PhD in philosophy, seriously, gets hired to clean up a seedy bar and ends up going to war with a corrupt businessman. It's silly, it's fun, it's a movie where Swayze rips someone's throat out like he's performing a Mortal Kombat fatality. To his credit, Liman doesn't try to do the same thing all over again, nor does he strip Roadhouse of everything that made it great. Instead, he translates the basic plot and the fun vibes and adds a seriousness that's an awkward fit with the off-the-wall antics.
I just slapped you. Are you alright?
What?
This time, our hero is a down-on-his-luck ex-MMA fighter with a dark past and murderous intent. Dalton finds himself thrown into a situation where he has to defend a Florida bar from a rich criminal, the corrupt cops on his payroll, and biker gangs. Lyman nixes the throat-ripping, the advanced degree, and the bouncer's be nice gospel. He opts instead for a violent, gritty, but always hilarious approach. The sheriff calls himself Big Dick, a crocodile becomes an unlikely ally, and a biker is the sweetest guy you can meet. Real-life UFC champ Conor McGregor enters the picture and exits it too by walking down a busy street fully naked like it's a regular Tuesday afternoon. Somehow, it works, kind of, and that's mostly because of McGregor's outlandish villain and Gyllenhaal's play-it-straight approach. Dalton is brooding and angry, and you best believe that he can rip your throat out if he wanted to, and he only barely hides it, living in a world of cartoon characters causing chaos. He has a serious face until it comes time to punch or slap, which is when he starts cracking jokes and delivering quips like he's in a Marvel movie.
People seem a little aggressive around here.
And thanks to Gyllenhaal's ample charisma, it all works. Meanwhile, McGregor steals the show by playing someone so deranged, he trades his Ferrari for a driving school car just because he feels like it. The supporting cast isn't too far behind. Billy Magnuson plays a pathetic loser who thinks he's a Bond villain, and Arturo Castro shines in a role of a surprisingly reasonable and nice gang member. Roadhouse's most significant update is thematic. Its bouncer versus businessman dynamic is more about class and race, with the cops taking on a bigger role. The problem is that it all falls flat. The script tries to expand on the many side characters of the original, but just as that starts to get interesting, they're left behind in favor of the main story. There are some intriguing aspects to the portrayal of a rich white dude and his sheriff department cronies terrorizing a mostly low-income and non-white community. Unfortunately, there's not that much commentary to it. Roadhouse never goes deep enough to be poignant. Its priorities are the action and the silliness. And it all looks ugly as sin. Lyman doesn't aspire to John Wick-style operatics, but he does make choices, and most fail miserably. For one, the action tracking feels like it has motion smoothing on, with the moves looking synthetic and unnatural. There's a constant change in camera lens. Many scenes look like they were shot on phones. Any good fight choreography is obscured by the insufficient lighting, with awful color correction that changes from shot to shot. Worse yet, for a movie built around fistfights, much of the combat is computer generated. There's also allegations that production was completed with the use of AI during the 2023 actors' strike. While it remains to be seen whether these allegations are true, what's painfully obvious is how much of the dialogue is ADR, particularly McGregor's lines, which sound about as bad as the villain in Madam Web. Still, the performances and the goofier tone manage to overcome the visual and narrative issues. If you're willing to vibe with it, Roadhouse is a fun but empty ride.
I got a tip for you. Don't let no one get this close.
Roadhouse trades earnest silliness for a Saturday morning cartoon tone that just barely manages to overcome its flaws. The original's bouncer versus businessman plot is refashioned and almost given some thematic weight, pitting a charismatic Jake Gyllenhaal against a feral Conor McGregor. Not that you can really even see them go head-to-head amidst the murky cinematography and computer-generated fisticuffs. This is the movie equivalent of a band performing at a shady bar while drunks chuck bottles at the stage's chicken wire barrier. You can hear some cool music if you really try, but everything is working against it. For more movie reviews, check out what we thought of Kung Fu Panda 4 and Dune Part 2. And for everything else, stick with IGN.